Mesechta Zevachim, Daf Samach Gimel Amar Aleph. We're starting for a new Mishnah. For this for now. Menachis. We have the Mishnah over there.
Yes.
Menachis hoyu nikmatzis b'chol makmazor. Menachis, the way it was done, it was made out of flour, and from the flour they would come down with a hand and take a kmitza, and they would put it in a keli, and then the keli then they would burn it on the mizbeach. So he says that kmitza, that scooping, was able to be done all over the Hazara. It's like the Yimadav and the Chalis, and if you did the scooping, there was a remaining part of the mincha to be eaten. That was able to be eaten lefnim and hakloyim in the Hazara. Well, the Zichik Yehuna only for the Koyanim who are males.
This is the first language.
Not only B'tzofim, because
You
B'chlal.
can make mitzvah wherever you
Oh,
want in the Hazara.
That's the
And then you
Kmitza.
can eat also in the Hazara.
Right.
So what is he using different language?
Because for Nacholin, okay, very good. He asked a good question. What's the share? So he says, number one, the Kmitza, I would have thought it has to be B'tzofim. Because the Kmitza is like shechting a carbon. The slaughtering of a carbon was only allowed to be in the tzafin side of the Hazara. And the menachis, the kmitz is like the shchita. That is the shchita of the menachis, the scooping, yes. So I would have thought it has to be in tzafin. Comes the Mishnah says, no, all over the Hazara. And the eating is also, the remaining in the
You're not answering my question.
What? Now he's telling you that the eating could be done. You have to say it.
The kmitz can be done anywhere, b'chol makom.
So that's part of it.
it.
So I would have thought it has to be next to the place where you did the kmitza, just like the hagosha. It says you have to put down.
In other words, you can do the kmitza in one place and go eat it somewhere else.
Eat it somewhere else. Yes.
Okay.
If you did a bit suffering, which would have probably been preferably, you could eat it all over the Hazara anyway. Okay, lifnim and akoyim within the Hazara. Okay, listen, for the males, chol machol, any type of form except for chametz. And then he says, you can eat it the day and the night.
What do they do? How do they prepare it?
What is mincha?
Yeah, what they do afterwards, they're going to eat it. How are they going to eat it? What are they going to they fried it?
Either they turn into wafers, chalais, but you cannot make it. Yeah, you can do, but you cannot make it chametz. That's it. Any type. That's best for you. Day and the night, but really it can be till the morning in Hater. It's just a chak and a chacham made. It should be nicer, so you should finish by chatzais. Says the Gemara. Amar Rabbi Elazar says mincha shnikmitzel beheichal sheira. A mincha that was not done in the Hazara. He went further into the kodesh, in the more holy place. Is it going to be good? Says the Gemara. Yes, it's kosher. Shekei matzina b'sil b'zicha. So we find by the 2 scoops of ketores that it was on the shulchan. You know, there was a shulchan, and they had what? No, the kmitza of the mincha was done in the heichal. Let's say he brought the mincha. Is it going to be kosher? He says, yeah. Why? Because where do we see a similar case that's very similar to a mincha? The lech mapanim. You were allowed to eat the bread once you took. There was 2 scoops of frankincense that you had to take away from the shulchan and bring it to the mizbeach outside in order to be able to eat from those breads. So that's like the kmitza. So just like that type of kmitza was done in the heichal, so too the kmitza of the mincha can be done in the heichal. It's like the Gemara Basra Rabbi Yirmiyah. Rabbi Yirmiyah asked a question. It comes misham. It says you should scoop from there. What do we learn out from there? That the makim shag mizara in this only place where you can scoop is from the place where the zar is allowed to stand. A zar means a non-kohen. A non-kohen was not allowed to go into the heichal. So here it says the kmitza could only be where the balabais could stand, and from the balabais' place you could do the kmitza. And we just said that you could do the kmitza even the heichal. We compared it to the shulchan. What's going on? Says Gemara.
The evidence he's saying.
No. Right. Yeah. But the kasha is here. It says it cannot be done in the heichal. Here he says it cannot be done in the heichal. Says akasha. So now the Gemara, I just want to give you a dama how it's going to work, and then it'll go smooth, the whole Gemara. So we thought the comments Misham teaches us, not in the Heichal, only where the Zohar can stand. So therefore it's a kasha. He's going to bring you a whole bunch of cases that the comments Misham tells us a different limit. not to exclude the heichel, to tell you about something else. Then he slugs up and he says, no, you can't say it's come to tell you that for some reason. Then we go back to the kasha. So obviously it's coming to exclude the heichel. I just want you to know how the derech.
That's the derech of the Gemara all the time.
Okay, I'm just telling you, you should understand. Okay, here we start. Ben say Ima. How do we know if somebody did a knitza with the left hand? He's supposed to do the knitza with the right. He did it with the left. How do we know that he could go back to the flour and do it again, over again the knitza with the right? Says that's the comes. That's where we learn it out from comes misham. Not to exclude the heichel, but to tell us that you can go scoop again to do it with the right. From the place where he already made a knitza with the left hand, he can go back and do it with the right hand. Others say no. This is how he answered. Rabbi Yirmiyah asked the question, and he answered it himself. Others say, I'm going to Rabbi Akiva, Yaakov, Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Tachlifa, and so Rabbi Akiva or Rabbi Yaakov was the one that answered. Not Rabbi Yirmiyah himself answered. It was Rabbi Yaakov who answered. What was the thing? He says, I'll explain you the answer. What do we need? We need to be machshir throughout the whole azara for kmitza. Now, something like chamina, I would have thought, no, oila kachri umincha kachri. Since oila and a mincha are in the same category, they're called kachri. So we can learn out from oila. Ma oila tuna tzaf and mincha tuna tzaf. I would have thought the only place.
Is this called a mamazino?
It's called a mamazino, yes. So I would have thought that you compare that just only tzafim, just like the oila, they're both in the same category kachri. So I would have thought tzaf gets tzafim. That's what the Kamas Misham is coming to tell you. All over the Azari you can do the Kmitza. Not to exclude that you can't do it in the Heichel. No.
But the Eila has to go on the
And
Yeah,
not,
oil is
and
on
not
its
that
own.
you can put it back and take with the right hand.
Right, that's a separate legal. But our derech now is going to be, it's not coming to exclude the Heichel. The Heichel, for sure, you can do the Kmitza. It's coming to exclude other things, or include other things. Says your mother, how could you say that? That you would have compared it to Ayla. That's your limit. You would have thought only in something. You cannot say that. Ayla has a chumash. It can't color. The whole thing is burned by the mincha. Only the kmitza, the scooping is burned. The rest you can eat. So obviously that's not the kamas misham. I wouldn't say that needs suffering. So what is the kamas misham going? Back to the first question.
How do you know you have?
That's excluding the heichel. So
How do you know you have to do it with the right hand still?
It says that there's a limit. He brought down. I'm going to look later. I read it last
Because
night.
he said you can't use the whole.
You can't use the left hand.
Yeah, but it says that comes to teach you that if you did it with the left, you go back to the
To
right.
the right, correct.
So how do you know you could do that?
That you can do what comes to
No,
show.
then-
Comes to tell you for the place where you already took a scooping and
They
you made
said
a
we
mistake.
need that to teach us. We shouldn't compare it to an oila.
That's something else. That was a separate limit. This one is a separate answer. The first answer was the Kamas Misham to go and make another kmitza because he did it with the left. So he goes back to the place where he already made a kmitza and does it again.
Okay.
That's one limit. Then the second limit, second answer was either Rabbi Yirmiyah answered himself or Rabbi Yaakov answered that the Kamas Misham tells you a different limit.
So how do you know the first limud?
Oh, he's not going to that. I don't know.
Okay, that's what I'm question.
Right, I hear you.
And Shkita could be also the left hand?
Shchita could be with the left. Yeah, there's no halacha.
Chishtas don't
If you
deny.
left,
No.
But if you're lefty, you check with your left hand.
So, right. It says the Gemara made chatas. We learn out from chatas. Chatas, not the whole thing is burned, so it's like a mincha, and chatas has to be only in suffering. Says Gemara, what are you talking about? Chatas has a more stringency to it that's able to forgive for somebody who's chayv a severe punishment like krisus. Mincha does not forgive for that. So that's why chatas has to be tzafin, not mincha. So we're back to square one.
What does the mincha
So
forgive?
it comes to misham is not excluding tzafin, rather heichel. Says Gemara Miyashim. We learned out from Asham. Asham does not forgive for chayv krisus, and it's not completely burned. So it's mamish like it's mitzafin and it's mamish like a mincha. Okay. Says Gemara no. Mal Ashish came in the dam. Asham has a more chumrah because the Torah emphasizes the blood has to forgive. Mincha, you don't have no blood, no nothing. It doesn't have that chumrah. So maybe it's different. So maybe by mincha, it could be anywhere. It's not like says Gemara. You know what? Mikula. We learn it out from all of them because each one has something that each one that has something that the other has that the other doesn't have. So it's obvious that each one's reason for dafka b'tzafim is not a reason because each one cancels out the other one. Lamash Oila says it's all burnt. That's why it's in tzafim. So when it's not true, Katas is not all burnt and it's in tzafim. Oh, Chatas, it forgives for Chayv Krisis. Not true. Asham is not Chayv Krisis. And still, so all these reasonings don't exist. Says you still can't learn it out from these three because Malakulush can't mean Dam. All three have a common denominator that needs Dam, and Mincha doesn't. Says we need it for a different reason.
Maybe the Kmitza is considered like the Dam, no?
The Kmitza is not we have Azos Adam, the throwing of the Kmitza on the Mizbeah. But you need
Dam, but maybe the Kmitza is...
You need life. There's the life Dam that you're burning. Okay. Says Yimon that you spray. Ella Yitzchak says Yimon I need for this. How could that come in? I would have thought. There's a chayv to bring the mincha to the mizbeach. Before you do the kmitza, you have to bring the mincha to the mizbeach. That's halacha, agosha, to the mizbeach. And by the mizbeach,
also we have agosha, no?
Here it says by a mincha. It says v'lashon agosha.
But the beast you also have a gosha.
It says, okay, yeah. I was by a bridge. Somebody offered someone Chanukah kibbutz hagosha to the Devas had kisu shel Yosef. Didn't have the hagosha alein. Anyway, bring your close to the mizbeach. So you had to bring the hagosha. You had to bring the whole mincha to the mizbeach. So I would have thought, oh, you have to bring the whole mincha. Everything has to happen there. Maybe you have to also. Right there, you have to scoop it. Just like the Hagosha is in the corner of the southwestern corner, so too, the Kmitza, the scooping, was in the southwestern corner. So he tells you no. The comments Misham. Misham means everywhere, and not to exclude the Heichal. Okay, a new thing.
Finish with them, right?
Yes. Rabbi Yochanan said, Shlamim sheshachatu b'Heichal k'sheyim. A shlamim that was slaughtered in the Heichal, that's in the Kodesh, that's where the Shulchan and the Menorah was in the Mizbeach HaPnimi. And so you're allowed, if you shach. Yeah, sure, Shulchan, correct. So he says the shlamim was slaughtered in the Heichal, it's kosher. Shonema, ushchat pas l'oil meid. It says you have to slaughter it by the entrance of the oil meid. So you make it, if when you slaughter it, it has to be facing the entrance, and so how much more so in the entrance, in the room, before it's going to be kosher. That's where the chesed. You want it to be at least facing the entrance, at least, but better inside. No, exactly. Mother, I hear you, but it doesn't always work out this kavachema because I'll show you differently. Basically, your mother, Rabbi Yochanan says, what's if the going surrounded? Yerushalayim, the Qaimus of Yerushalayim, or the Iratika Lamashal, they surrounded it, and it says they threw chitzim, arrows, or bilistrois. If you look at bilistrois, I think it says over there or somewhere else, or in the Safaria, the missiles. That's like today. Missiles were flying in the Azara. So what should the bilistrois? So they can't eat in the Azara, right? So Sha'akoyim Nechnasim L'Sham, V'Echon Sham Kachem, and the Kohanim go. Where did they go? Into the Heichel, and they eat the Kachem there. So Talmud Leimer comes to the pasuk and says, because Kadoshim, because of the Kohanim. So they had the alarms screaming. And they knew they had to run the sirens, and they ran into the Heichel and they ate it. They said, let's be Mekayim Mitzvah to get these missiles going missing us.
You couldn't say the way the Chavim, as well?
The Chachamim surrounded the place with shooting missiles, it says. So for the Kahanim, they have to, I'm sure they were fighting, but they had to run in to eat. So what about my? Why should we say, what do I need a pasuk for this to tell you they were allowed to eat in the Heichel in times of war? No, say very simple. They were allowed to eat in the chatzah of the Yom in the yard of the Yom. So if if they were masher shchita shlamim in the heichal, right? We said shchita shlamim was good in the heichal, so the eating should be in the heichal for sure. It should, the truffle should be more chama than the eating. The eating is the main part of the mitzvah, so for sure it should be mutter. Says you want to how could you compare the eating to the shchita? A person could do work in a place where his teacher is doing work. Well, it's not chutzpah, it's the same thing. You're allowed to work together with your teacher. There it makes sense to say if the rabbi is working in the heichal, you could also do the shechita in the heichal. This is work. Work is not a chutzpah in front of the rabbi. Achila, the ein adam heichal came rabbi. When it comes to achila, it's not respectful to eat where the rabbi is eating. I remember in Lubavitch Yeshiva. Oh, so Lubavitch Yeshiva, they made that the teacher should have to sit on a separate table. It wasn't nice. They covered it from the sifter to sit together with the rabbi. So there we don't say that Tavus Chamanayik. We don't say that Kavachema. But by Shechita we will say next Mishnah. Chatas Haif. Yeah. Chatas Haif is the chatas of the bird that's brought with a bird. It's a nice. I can't drink my office.
It's the poor guy because he gave.
Huh?
Couldn't afford the behaviors. He gave
So Haif, yes. It was done al Keren Dreimes Madavis. It was done on the corner of Dreimes Madavis. Really, I don't know if it worked. There was not. There is a certain time that you bring a chatas Haif, and then a chatas Behemah. Chatas Haif is a Turai Banyena. Yeah, it says if you can't. It is Oil Yoda. I'm sorry. Chatzah is Oil Yoda. It goes according to the amount of money you have, and officially you have to bring a behema, and if you can't afford it, you bring a behema. So it was done on the southwestern corner of the Chol Makrim Hoisa, and the Aveda was done throughout. Meaning, in the whole place, you were allowed to do the Aveda. What is the Aveda of Chatzah? There was the Malika. They did it with the thumb.
Okay.
They cut the neck. Then they had the hazah. They would spray the blood, and then they would squeeze out the blood and smear on the wall of the mizbeach. So you had malika, you had hazah, and you had mitzah. Mitzah means squeezing out the blood. That's your mother. And so where was it? All over was wherever you did that, it was kasha. And lazeh, only in this corner of the mizbeach, hais merkayma. This place was its place. Southern word. So Gemara is going to ask him, what does that mean? First you said that it has to be on the southern western corner. And then you say, what does it mean? Which one is it? We will soon see. It's a whole Gemara. You're jumping. The Gemara is going to say so. Okay. And there were three things that were on the Mizbeach. There was a red line. So there were different kabbanis that were the Chut HaSikra. It was called the Chut HaSikra, the line that went around the Mizbeach. And there were kabbanis that were done the Matne Chut HaSikra, under the red line. So he's telling you like this. There were three things that the Karen was served under the red line, and then there were three things that was used above the red line. Milmata, what was under the red line? Chatzah. If it's a chatzah of a bird, it was the blood was sprayed under that red line. And bringing the menachos to the mizbeach was under the red line. Ushiyari adam, and the remnants of the blood, after you sprayed the blood on the mizbeach, that was placed in a hole under the red line. There was like a drain where they put it through. Okay. Then you have milamayla, milamayla. Then you have three above. Nisuch hayayin, the libation of wine, the pouring of the wine, which was done on the mizbeach throughout the whole year. But Nis Chamayim was on the mizbeach in the days of Chag HaSukkos. What about the Aveda of Oil Sahib? Kishu Rabba b'Mizrach. In the time when there was many Kahanim serving by doing the Aveda on the Maharav's Dreimes on the southern western corner, So there was too many people, so they would come to they would go to the other side of the Mizbeach, the Mizach Droimes.
To do what?
To the other side, to get rid of the blood. Kol
So they would, before it was done where was it?
Marav is Droimes.
Marav is right.
Right.
Now you.
Hamakim Hamiyud, I'll tell you right away. The Hamakim that was designated for the Havida of Oil Sa'if is above the Chut HaSikra, above the red line. Where was it? On the southern eastern part of the Mizbeach. I'm sorry, the main place was on the southern eastern part of the Mizbeach. Okay?
Oh, so it's
Southern, I said a mistake, right. Droimes Mizachis, or Mizachis Droimes. The reason for it is because the crop and the feathers, they had to put it over there. There was that special drain in that corner to put in these heavy stuff. Okay?
It was a big drain.
But since the Kerem Mizbeach was closer to Beis Hadeshin by Dremis Mizrachis, that's why the Kohen did all the Avodah of the Oil Sa'if, that corner. Because Oil Sa'if has the crop with the feathers, and that special drain was on this eastern southern side. But it says, if there were many Kahanim doing the Oil Sa'if on Dremis Mizrachis, and there was no place for the Kahanim to stand there, so what would they do? The Kohen would do the Avodah by the corner of the southern western side. But they would never start on the southern western side because it was so far. It was like 50 feet. It was 32, let's say around 50 feet. You have to throw, you have to be a good basketball player to throw it right next to that hole. A football player. And it was light. It was also, the feathers are light. It's not easy. Okay. But that's only, it was filled. Those that went up on the Mizbeach had to go to the right. So I explained, I hope I have a bigger picture. Where was it that we saw big pictures? Maybe before the Pedek. This is Pedek Shishi. Let me see if I had a picture right before the Pedek. Here. So if you look, he would walk up the ramp, turn right. It was a little turn off. Here he doesn't show you a turn off.
What page?
It was a
What page
little.
is that?
This is. It doesn't say page.
So you see the
It's
page
the beginning of the
before?
Pedek. Nun Zayin on the base. That's 2. So you turn 3, and then you turn over. So there was like an off ramp that went. So you turned right. Now, how is this right? When you're walking straight, it's left, right? So he says you're facing this way. Your body is facing this way, and when you turn this way, your right part of the body is
When you go to the ramp, you're always supposed to go to the right. You're not supposed to go right.
the right. So you're always turning to the
Only
right.
then.
So look how your body is how are you turning over here right? So the Gemara said before, his face is facing the Mizbeach, and he's walking with his body. When he turns, which part of the body is moving? The right part of the body is turning right, and so forth. He went around the Mizbeach that way. Says the Gemara. So whoever turns has to turn right. But when they come down from the ramp, they come from the left.
Yeah, because his left side is coming first, right? He's turning here, right? He's
But
turning this
now
way.
when he comes here, he's turning here. He has to turn with the left. Okay, when he's coming up, okay. So Gemara. So we go down the left side of the kevish. It says Gemara chutz min ha'oila, except from ha'oila. L'shloisha eilu, meaning the nis chayayin, the nis chamayim, and the oil sa'oiv. They would go up the left side. They would go up the left side for these 3 things. For the Nischayim and Nischamayim and the Oil Sa'if, they would go up to the left and come down to the left.
When they came up, they always went to the left first.
To the left. And therefore, when you go left, you don't have to take a long cut. When you go left, you go right back to the same shortcut. By right, if you're going right, you
gotta go around, right?
You got to go around. But you can't go back, you can't make any shortcuts when you're constantly turning right. But if you start off the left, you can come right back with the left. So it's
It's
a
not a
good
shortcut,
thing.
they just don't do the whole.
The whole makif, the whole going around. From where do we learn this out? I'm going to be sure. Meaning, from where do we learn out that the chatas ha'oiv was done on the southern western corner of the Mizbeach. It says, Yeshua says, Amakra. It says in the pasuk by the minchas chita, a mincha of a singer. He says, don't make it fancy. Lo yasm ala shemen, do not put oil in it. He's a sinner. Lo yitna ala levaina, do not put on frankincense. Ki chatas here because it's a chatas. So you see, chatas kriya mincha. You see, chatas is called a mincha. Mincha kriya chatas, and a mincha is also called a chatas. So they're intertwined. Ma chatas tunat suffer, just like a chatas has to be on the north, mincha tunat suffer, and so too the mincha has to be bitzafin. So here we have a problem. We just said that the mincha could be all over, not just bitzafin. So what are you saying? So Rashi says you have to omit these words, and you have to read the words ma chatas psula kishanas amitzvah shlei lishma. Mincha shalei lishma is not going to be good. That's what you have to insert instead of saying.
Where do you pick up these words?
Rashi. So Rashi says you have to insert those words because really a mincha.
Where did he get those words from?
Oh, from a Mishnah. That's a Mishnah. Yeah, Mishnah Perek Dalet. Okay. So he says over here. So what does he come to tell you? So and once you compared it, so now we're going to talk about the corner. Just like they brought the mincha, where did they bring it before the kmitza? Where did they bring it to which corner? To the Mekerem Marov's Dreines, that's the southern western corner. Of Chatas, Mekerem Marov's Dreines, so to the Chatas, the Ika Avida was done by the southern western corner. How do we know that bringing the mincha had to be by the southern western corner? Says Gemara, the time we learned the Rabbisa. It says the beginning of the pasuk doesn't say in the Gemara, but I'll read it. And it says, now we have Lefnei Hashem. It says these are the laws of a mincha that you have to bring close before Lefnei Hashem. I would have thought that the mincha has to be b'mayriv. It has to be on the western corner because the west is where the heichal is where the Lefnei Hashem is. So here is the Mizbeach, right? So he has to bring the mincha right here, facing the heichal. Says the Gemara. So we got a problem over here. So Tabalei Pnei HaMizbeach comes the pasuk and tells you it has to be that the Agosha has to be on the southern side of the Mizbeach. So the southern side is over here. It's not facing. Look, you go. The southern side is where the ramp is, right? And part of the Mizbeach is on the southern side. So, but it says you should bring it to the southern side, but it's not Lefnei Hashem. Once you come here, it's not facing the entrance. So we got a problem. So he says, B'darim. So I would have thought it has to be B'darim because it says Darim. It has to be in front of the Mizbeach. Okay, so how can we coincide these two psukim that it should be Darim and facing the Mizbeach? So he says, Makisha Bekenem Maravas D'Roimes Kineged Chudda Shal Keren B'Dayen. He says you bring it to the corner of Maravas D'Roimes, of this corner, right here, so it faces the Darim and it faces the Ma'ir. Rabbi Lezer says, Yochel, I would have thought, maybe because these two psukim, he's come to tell you can choose a side. You can go to the south, Pnei HaMizbeach, or I can go to Ma'ir facing the Heichal. Says the Gemara, Amarta, but we have a rule. When you have two psukim that are contradicting one another, so the way it works, that one has to be able to fulfill the pasuk, its own pasuk, and the pasuk of his friend. And then you can have a choice that you use one that he's fulfilling for himself, but he's not taking care of his friend. Right? He's being mevatel his friend. So what's the halacha? We don't deal with a guy who is selfish, only for himself. I'm just giving you a muscle. He has to care for his friend. It has to work out for his friend too. And with Toysim, which one do we grab? The pasuk, yes, that it works for himself and for his friend.
Which one does?
So it says the Gemara. So what does it mean? It's b'mayr. And when you say betalta b'nei mizrach, When you're saying Lifnei Hashem, that's Ma'ir, so you're being Mavatal the Darm. It's not Darm. Ukshatoim El Pnei HaMizbeach, and when you're saying Pnei HaMizbeach, that's V'Darm, Tiyamta. You were Mekayim the Darm, but you're also being Mekayim Lifnei Hashem B'Darm. So, what are you talking about? If it's on the south, it's not facing the Eichel. Says the Gemara, that the whole Mizbeach was on the Tzafim. So now I can show you. You remember that?
Here it's showing us in Darim.
Darim, here. So this box is the Mizbeach.
Yeah.
There's an opinion that says you move this box, right, till the center of the Heichel, the entrance of the Heichel was 10 Amas. So you bring the end of the end of the Mizbeach, when it ends by this, I make myself a line in the middle. That's the Tzafim side. That we know for sure. From the center of the Eichel, this way is Tzafim. From the center of the Eichel, this way is Darim. So he says you move the Mizbeach till the center, right?
This time you'll be able to move it.
Huh? No, it was always B'Tzafim. This opinion holds the Mizbeach was not in the middle, but the end of the Mizbeach was right, the fully in Tzafim, till this dotted line. So he says, now you have 5 more Amis after the Mizbeach, that you can go in front of the Mizbeach in Durham. This 5 Amis, if this is here in front of this line, okay, this 5 Amis is in front of this line, so you still have another 5 Amis that is after the Mizbeach. You could stand in front of Durham, and it's facing these 5 Amis of the Eichel, of the entrance.
This being down the middle? That's the other
Again, if it's in the middle, then you come over here. Here's Durham.
You're not facing it.
You're not facing it. But if you move the Mizbeach down to this dotted line, so you're only half of the Eichel, that's where Tzafim starts. So the other half of the entrance is already done. So you can be in front of the Mizbeach. And it's perfect. Okay, that's the end of this Inyan. We learned one more Inyan. It says throughout the whole place, the Avodah of the Chatzar Oif was kasher, and that was its place. You're allowed to be makiv everywhere. We have a problem. My comment. What is he talking about? You said the Mishnah says the Avodah of the Chatzar Oif was dafka where in the southern western side, right? And then you said b'chol makim haisik sheda, all over was kasher. Which one is it?
We had a kasha in the Mishnah, right?
Yeah, that's the same kasha. This is the Gemara. This is your question for the Mishnah. Ravashi answers, this is how you have to say. B'chol makim haisik sheda libeli kasa. All over was kasher to do the shechita with the thumb, with the king of the kohen's thumb. Elazar hayim hakoymei, and the Marav's name is under the red line. Hayis mekama lehaza'asa for the spraying. That's where you need a doctor. This on the west. For the malika, the chomakim everywhere. Tanina.
Well, that's 2. There were 3 things you had to do.
Mitzah. Mitzah is the squeezing out. We're going to get to that in a minute. So very good. Tanina, we had learned. He says from the mashmais of the Mishnah. This that we learned from the Rabbanim learned the Feish and Abraisa. Milaka. That's the malika. The chomakim. Was able to be done all over. Sheda. That's going to be kasha all over. He's a dama b'chomakim sheda. Here it says spraying the blood all over is kasha. He's a v'loy and if he sprayed and he didn't squeeze out sheda. Providing that you place the blood under the chut hasikra. But you just said that the hazah was b'chomakim, and now you're saying the same sentence. That has to be under the red line that went around the Mizbeach. My comment, which one is it? Is it only Mechut HaSikra Lamata? Or it's B'chol Makayim, meaning even Lamata Mechut HaSikra? Which one is it? Let me try over again. Hachikama. This is how we have to say it. Melaka B'chol Makayim B'Mizbeach Sheya. The acts of Shechita with the thumb everywhere. Mitzah Dama, the squeezing out the remnants of the blood. That's not the blood that makes the bird alive. He's dead already. So he's just squeezing it out and he's smearing it on his way up. The chomakim, on top of the sikah, under the sikah, it's kasha. It's kasha. But if he sprayed the blood of the chatas, that's the life of the chatas, v'loy mitzah, and he didn't do after he sprayed the special blood, he didn't do the squeezing out and smearing on the mizbeach, it's kasha. Ubelvad. Sheyitin, that providing that the spraying of the blood was mechut hasikul lamata, was on the bottom of that red line, midam nefesh, of the blood that makes the
mitzvah is not ma'akif.
no, mitzvah is the after the remnants of the blood.